How's Dwayne Washington doing?
Dwayne, he was out there today running around a little bit with us. A little bit sore, but we're hopeful. I think we got a few guys that are, we're hopeful on. It'll probably be game type decisions depending on how they, come back tomorrow and the next day.
Will Bond be one of those also?
I think he's better than a game time decision. I think he looked pretty good today. So, yeah. I think Siler will be, kind of similar. We'll take him one day at a time. Want to make sure that he's all good. And, yeah.
Did he have a concussion?
He had, I guess he had some sort of concussion-like symptoms, they say. Yeah. So, this day and age, everybody's hypersensitive and very cautious, rightly so.
Does have a concussion that they have to go through, and if there is concussion?
Yeah, there's always a protocol, and they give them tests, they give them physical tests, mental tests. I don't have the exact protocol, but it's pretty strict. It's pretty right on. I think most people in the country are doing it, and I think our people are even, they're on a couple panels, national committees that are anybody in. I think our athletic program that gets a concussion is, even looked at even more so.
Frames like he has to be held out of practice, re-examined a certain period.
Yep.
As far as Siler goes, the plan is that he obviously starts Saturday.
Plan is that, but like I say, we'll take it one day at a time with him.
What did you think of the way Troy played?
I thought Troy did a nice job. He really did. I thought he was, for really playing his first time and going, I thought it was pretty solid.
What did he do to kind of earn those second string reps in practice?
Well, I think he's worked hard, and I think it just kind of comes from production. He does get reps in practice, and all those guys do, and they're competing every day. And Troy throws a pretty nice ball, and it just comes down to reps and being a good decision maker. He's a pretty accurate thrower, and I think getting put in at the end there, and he responded well.
You changed the practice habits now that you've got potentially Miles not starting. Are you balancing the reps differently?
Well, like I said, we'll kind of take it one day at a time. And, Siler's had a lot of reps now with us, game, whatever we are here. And so I sometimes think it's good when we hold out our starters, when you can. I mean, we got to pay attention to, all of our starters in terms of like wearing them out a little bit and keeping them fresh. And so, it's that fine balance between giving them the right amount and not too much. And so it's good for, a backup to go today. Let's see what you got.
What did you think of Siler's game before he got hurt?
Thought he was okay. I thought he'd play better. I think that against a team like Oregon, when you turn it over twice, that can be backbreaking. And you hate to say that. But I think when you're playing a really, really good team, you have to play really, really good. You have to play really clean. And so I think those two turnovers, really hurt. He did do some good stuff, but he probably didn't, at that position, play as clean as we probably needed him to. I thought he competed hard. He competed well. But that's the position that can dictate a lot on offense.
Why don't you think you guys have been able to run the ball better?
That's a great question. I think first and foremost, I think they're pretty stout. I think they're pretty good, and they certainly were better than us on Saturday. Their defensive front again than our guys. But I think it's a combination. We got to block them better. And I think we got to run better at running back. Not any one guy, but we gotta. I kind of look at what Oregon was doing, and I thought their O-line did a really good job. And that back is big and fast and runs hard. I mean, I think that's what you'd like it to look like. And if we can't run the ball, and the team that we're playing can run the ball really well, it's going to be trouble for us. And you saw it firsthand. I don't care how many yards they throw for. It's always going to start right there.
In the first game, though, you guys have struggled to get the run game going. I mean, there are recurring issues, similar issues, or things you thought you.
Yeah, they're reoccurring. I mean, just guys got to play better. I mean, that's the bottom line. We got to block better, give our backs a chance to get something done, and then when we do, you'd like our backs to be able to get out and get loose a little bit. I think it hurt having Dwayne out of the mix, because if he does get to the second level, he's got some pretty explosive speed, and I think that hurt us a little bit. And I think when you play a team like Oregon, you get exposed in some ways. I mean, you really do. You really can see where your issues are. I think you can see how you match up talent-wise. That's what you want your team to look like talent-wise. And how do we match up? Some places we matched up pretty well. Some places we didn't. I think you can get exposed on your attention to detail, because even if the talent's not right, are you doing your technique and assignments just right? And even if you're getting whipped physically, hey, you kind of shake their hand and move on. And then, the third thing I think when it goes like that is your competitiveness. Are you going to back down at all? And that's much easier for me to sit here and talk about it, because you're there to win the game, and there gets to be a point sometimes where there's frustration. It's like, can we get anything done here? And most human beings have a tendency to back off, not keep playing like the game's on the line. And so that's a hard thing to train. And so I think we had a lot of guys that really did play very hard till the end, but I don't think everybody did, and I'd be surprised if everybody did, because I think that's the first time we've been in a situation like that, and I think that's a very hard thing to do, and it's something that we got to train and talk about, and which we do, but now we've kind of lived it a little bit.
What did you see out of Deontay Cooper, obviously finish the game?
Yeah, I mean, Coop is such a. You're always just rooting for him to do well. I mean, you're rooting for all your guys, but he's just a great guy to be around. You just like to coach guys like that, so you're wanting him to do well. And I thought he did pretty well. He made some plays, and I think he did well. I think as a group running the ball, getting back to your initial question, just everybody involved with that. Even receivers blocking safeties and getting downfield. I mean, everybody just we need to be better, and if we're not, we're going to struggle.
Chris, you talked about kind of using that game as maybe a barometer for kind of where you guys are at. What are you missing to kind of get to that point? What does this team need, the program need to get to that level?
I think all three of those things that I just spoke about. I mean, I think I just told you exactly what it is. Okay, where do we match up talent-wise? I mean, you saw the best player in college football. I don't know if he's best player. I mean, I think he's going to be the first pick in the draft. I mean, that guy is something else. And I don't know if, I think coaches realize that when you put the tape on and see what he's doing, whether he's running the ball, pitching the ball, option, opposite hand, when we tackle him, how he goes through his read progressions, how he can throw to his left on the move, innocent, all those things. But so when you start with that guy and you got the best in the business, good things are going to happen. But they got, I think that defensive line, those defensive ends are really, really special. The corner's really good. I mean, so talent, details. They've been doing that system for a long time, and they play fast, and they play hard, and they know what they're doing. And then how hard are you going to compete?
And then I think you said whipped physically. How much did that kind of surprise you that happened like that?
There's some of that, but I knew they were good. I mean, let's not make no mistake about it. I mean, because they lost a game, I've been on some good teams that have lost a game that, maybe you shouldn't have, maybe you should, whatever. Any given Saturday, we all know weird things can happen. That's an elite team. I really think so. And so, we knew some of the matchups would be tough. I think probably the thing that, that I'm always looking for is our attention to detail. Can we just, regardless of talent level, can we just execute with precision, in terms of tackling, gap responsibility and gap integrity and not losing our eyes. And, all these things that we talk about forever and work on every day. But when you start getting on your heels, and somebody mentioned, I think after the game, was some of you guys trying too hard. Someone said they might have been trying too hard. And, we talk so much about just do your job, just do your job. Just don't do someone else's job until you see the ball. Well, when they're moving the ball, and all of a sudden you think he's got it, and you start to slide, and then a really fast quarterback pulls it out, or a really fast back bounces it, you see what can happen, and you stay on your heels.
The number of experience we have.
Arizona State and facing Berkovici or Taylor Kelly, the quarterback.
Yeah, so, I think either one are going to be quite a challenge. Berkovici's done a great job. Really good. He can. But I know Taylor Kelly too. I've seen that guy for a long time, and he's from my neck of the woods, and I know what kind of competitor and what kind of quarterback he is, and I think he's one of the really good ones. And so, sounds like he may roll a little bit, and I think Arizona State is on a roll and doing good, and you put the tape on, and you're like, okay, here comes another really good team.
You try to recruit Taylor Kelly?
We did. We were in on the Taylor Kelly sweepstakes at one time, and all those things. Recruiting happens so early, and it's hard to commitments here and there. But I know Taylor.
Given the amount of experience you have in the offensive line, are you surprised there hasn't been more progress in the run game?
You'd like. I don't think it's all about just experience. I think. You'd like to take the next step and think you got the talent to take the next step. I think we've played when we've struggled. I think we've played some pretty good defenses, some pretty good D lines, and but yeah, with the guys that we have in there, we got one freshman in there, but the rest of the guys have played a lot of snaps, and you'd hope to take the next step.
The ideal role is for Cason Williams in your offense?
Yeah, I don't know. We're trying to move him a little bit inside, maybe a little bit more as an inside slot receiver. Try to get him the ball outside, and try to make the tough play, and those things happen. But yeah, it's a hard one. I know you guys ask that every week, and we do too.
Again, you've been asked this so many times, but health-wise, does he look like he's where you need him to be, or?
Yeah, I think that, like I said before, I think that was a pretty significant injury, and I wasn't here before, and no, I've seen tape and all those things, and but I know that I know it's a factor. I could say that.
Coach, can you talk a little bit more about the passing game? Because it just doesn't seem like Cason's not getting the ball, but just your bigger guys in general, your tight ends, and Braden Lenius and Josh and Mike. But
Well,
are receivers getting open? Siler not seeing them, not comfortable. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of all that. Braden Lenius is a true freshman, plays very little. Josh Perkins didn't play the first half. So, Jadon has done a pretty solid job of kind of getting some things going. I think Dante Pettis is coming on. But again, it's never one thing. I think all those guys got to step up a little bit. I think we got to protect a little bit better for Siler, the quarterbacks. And, I think it comes back to, what we were talking about early on. I think it's all about details, whether we're talking about the details in the run game or details in the pass game. We're not a detail enough team right now. And certainly some of that credit goes to, the opponent. They play good. They make it really, really hard on you. Your margin for error is really, really thin. And, at least we know where we stand in terms of those type of things. And I think we're going into another situation with another really good defense, talking about Arizona State, that we're going to have to get better and tighten some things up, or it's going to be tough sledding. You saw what they did to Stanford. And I don't know if you guys saw the game, but I'm just talking about the score. They played some good defense.
Chris, how intrigued are you to see Troy Williams in a competitive situation? He comes in, the game is a little bit out of hand, obviously, Saturday, but how intrigued are you to kind of see what he can do?
That's a good question, because it's always I think it's always different for the quarterbacks. You're so picky on those guys in practice. And, if a guy throws an interception in practice or scrimmages, and it's like, that just can't happen. It just cannot happen. but yet a lot of times the other positions you're a little bit more lenient with. And so, I think if a guy practices at a high level, at whatever position, he's going to play pretty good. But I think, that quarterback, if he's pretty stingy, giving the ball to our defense in practice, he's going to do a good job there. But it's going to be different, we know. And so, yeah, I'm always anxious to see, sometimes that, a backup quarterback get in there. I think sometimes it's scary. You're going, okay, we've seen some things, but then it's awesome to see again, see what Troy did when he didn't get his chance to go in there. I mean, he made some things happen and threw some good balls and then ran around when stuff wasn't there.
Would you consider giving him a second quarter series? I mean, does that make sense to maybe just kind of mix it up and see what he can offer?
Yeah. I don't think we've got to that point yet. You just start getting into the rotating quarterbacks and those type of things. I don't know if any coaches really love to do that, but you do like to get those other guys some work.
What tack do you take with your team this week? You just tell them forget about Oregon, or do you focus on it and say, hey, this is not good enough?
We always try to learn every game, and as hard as the losses are to take, I mean, it's painful. I mean, nobody understands the pain that we go through. You just don't. You're around it, and you just don't know how painful it is to come into that meeting room, what we go through as coaches, how much these players care. And so, but with that being said, if you do this thing right, a loss like that you can be beneficial down the road. It really can. And in some ways you can learn more than when you win. Sometimes you have a tendency to gloss over some things that we really need to pay attention to that, but it's all good when it's good. And so, it's painful. It's painful last couple days around here. But I think the kids were, went out this morning, and that's probably the best thing. It's just like we just need to get back out there and go and start working on some stuff. And I think everybody starts to feel better.
Does Arizona State's offense have many similarities with Oregon? I know they're up-tempo, but defensively, how different is what you have to do in your keys?
Our defense?
Yeah, against that offense. I know they're up-tempo, but...
Yeah, everybody's got their different styles, and it is a different style, but it's a one-back spread, no huddle, emphasize different plays. So in that way, it is different. But the generic style is certainly the same.
How about Arizona State's defense? You touched on it already, but it seems like they're a young defense, work in progress, but really stepped up against Stanford.
They stepped up big time. And, I think they've played really well. I mean, that UCLA game was a little bit of an anomaly, just kind of what happened there. I think UCLA kind of got it rolling, and we all know when one of these, good teams gets it rolling, it's kind of strange. But other than that, they played really good. And then last week against Stanford, I mean, that was a buzzsaw that those guys ran into. Stanford did. Played really, really good. They're aggressive. They're hard to block up front. I mean, Stanford's got a pretty darn good offensive line and can run the ball with the best of them, and they struggle to do that.
How much does your coaching staff go and look at last year's game between these two teams?
We look at a lot of tape. Well, I mean, we study lots of tape. Sometimes it's, last year tape of maybe not even us. We certainly look at most of the tape this year, and so we're always just trying to analyze the best way to attack people on all phases, and just make sure that it's the same thing that we're seeing, and maybe styles are different, or they're moving on and doing different schemes, and we just double check things.
With Dwayne with his rib or chest, whatever it is, and then Levon looked like he got dinged a little bit. You're really thin at running back. Anybody else getting looks over there? Maybe like a Kendall Taylor getting some reps over there?
Yeah, and so we've all, I don't think you can have enough running backs, and so that's, where we've, all along, had Shaq kind of in the mix in case anything happened. And so, like I say, we'll just kind of take it day to day, and we kind of always got some other guys warmed up, and we'll see how Levon and Dwayne progress in the next couple of days and go from there.
Getting some reps over at running back this week.
Shaq always gets reps at running back every week. He might not in the game, but in practice he always does.
When Dwayne went down Saturday, was Shaq an option at all? Tell me.
We didn't quite get there just yet, but he could have been. Yeah.
Lamont looked like he was really trying to push through something. He wasn't right. Are you giving him credit or were you he didn't run hard as we usually see him? What would you think of him? How he either toughed some out or?
Yeah, I thought he was, doing the best he could, and I thought he showed a lot of toughness. Yeah.
You were asked about this after the game, but there was a story about a couple of your guys laughing on the sidelines toward the end. Is that the kind of thing you feel the need to address, or?
I don't. Like I said, I know how much these kids care, and different things on the sideline happen. I don't think anybody thought that was funny. I know our guys don't think it's funny. I think if we're not focused, if you think a kid doesn't care, then he's not going to be part of this whole deal. And I don't think that's the deal at all. I mean, I think sometimes we care too much and take it too serious is what I really feel.
The team really played a lot of guys on defense. Did you see anything you liked out of some of those younger guys that haven't played a lot?
Can you repeat that one more time, son?
I said you brought in a lot of subs on defense in that game. Did anybody stand out that hasn't played a whole lot?
Yeah, I think that, I think that Nigel Hale, I always like it when he gets in there because I think he brings good energy and he really competes hard. I think Darren Gardenhire got in there a little bit, and I like the looks of him as well. Somebody mentioned Braden Linnaeus. He hasn't played a lot for us, but like to get when we have these young true freshmen, you're just itching for, opportunities to get those guys in the game and get them quality reps. And I think, all those guys made some headway.
You a fan of 7:45 kickoffs?
Say again?
You a fan of 7:45 kickoffs?
I'm definitely not, and I don't think you guys are either. But it is what it is, and you just, from where I was in the past. I mean, I played on every single night of the week, and I think I think the latest time slot that's probably possibly could be played to the earliest. We had a few years back. I think we had a 9 a.m. California kickoff that we played. We had our guys up, I think, at 5 in the morning to get ready. So we've done it all.
10 a.m. in Colorado won't be an issue.
No, 7:45 is more of an issue. We're morning guys, so 10 a.m. shouldn't be as much as a problem as the late.
But going from a 7:45 to a 10 o'clock the next day, how much does that just affect the rhythm of what you guys are trying to do, or is it just it is what it is now? So
I think it is what it is, and I think that the later games are just hard waiting around all day long. That's hard. I think everybody likes to get up, get ready, go play.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you guys.